This week I learned apparently there are people who skip prologues in books. What? Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back for another weekly update. We are rolling through February, almost done. We're getting closer and closer to that finish line. We'll be getting close to spring break soon. It's just 2024 is just kind of rolling by really quick, as did this week. But guys, like usual, let's begin by talking about what am I reading. I did finish part 3 of James Clavell's Shogun. Guys, this book is a beast. It is just monstrous. I'm glad I broke it in 3 months, but not because it isn't amazing, because it is. It is an absolutely incredible book. I don't know what else I can say that I haven't been saying for the last 2 months. But I'm glad I did, because I feel like I'm getting the journey so much better this way. I love the way it's going. And what I didn't expect with this, as someone who had watched the miniseries before I actually read this, was I didn't expect the emotional weight that this book does have. Because, I mean, you deal with, obviously, like I said, Stranger in a Strange Land a lot. But what this does with, like, it's just the culture shock that Blackthorn is going through in this book. There's one particular chapter where it's just very, without any spoilers here, just kind of tell you, Blackthorn accidentally gets somebody killed, and it's just blatantly through miscommunication with his house, and it just, the cultural shock just eats him alive. And I mean, I'm just broken up for this guy. I mean, he's been doing a good job, I think, of holding it together with what he's going through, but that moment just hits him so hard. It hit me really hard. So amazing writing by James Clavell, and I'm excited for this final act, because I think about where the miniseries went in that final act, and you could tell there was some budget restrictions in 1980 on a made-for-TV miniseries, you know, and I'm anxious to see how it is actually written in here, because I think it's just going to be incredible. But guys, it's been everything that was advertised as. This book has been a journey. It has been absolutely amazing, and if I could give it Book of the Month again, I would do that, but I didn't want to give it Book of the Month 3 months in a row kind of thing. But yeah, it's just been just wild. I am loving it. So I did kind of skip ahead a little bit. You guys know I've been doing 1 volume a month of Blackwater, so I just kind of I felt like before I got into some more heavy fantasy, I wanted to just, take a step back, get back to Perdido, see what's going on with the Kasky family, and I'm actually considering not doing the monthly thing with this anymore, because guys, this has such a large cast. And I'm starting to forget some of those familial connections, whose kids are who, because the cast just keeps going, because this series goes through, like, I don't know. Right now, I feel like it's been through like 20 years already. So I'm thinking we're going to go through generations of this family, kind of like _J Legacy did. I think we're going to do that, but, we're going to take our time instead of skipping around. No, I'm not taking any shots. I like _J Legacy, but with this, I'm considering not doing it once a month, because I feel like I'm going to start to forget some stuff. So as I'm about, I don't know, midway through book 3 right now, which is called The House, I'm starting to think I might just run this through, because again, I feel like I'm starting to forget some stuff. I don't know, we'll talk about that more in a minute, but this, again, guys, I think this is incredible, and I'm not even halfway there yet. I have not seen anything like this since maybe Needful Things, where you've got like this whole community and we're just kind of like going through this whole town kind of thing. Now, it's not quite as large, because it does focus more on just the Kasky family, but there are some townsfolk that you'll see come around again and again, but the cast just keeps getting bigger and bigger, because, new people come in, old people go out, and then they'll come back. And it's just, you forget that you're reading a horror story sometimes, because you get so wrapped up in this family drama that every once in a while he has to remind you, oh yeah, there's a big scary monster involved with all this, and there's some creepy stuff that is really being unveiled in Volume 3 here that I didn't expect, and I have no idea where it's going. But this guy's an amazing writer. I can see, I had no idea that he was the one who wrote Beetlejuice, by the way, the screenplay for Beetlejuice, but I can see it. This guy, he's really great. So if you're into Southern Gothic, into kind of like that family drama kind of period, I think that, not really that period, but in that time period from like 1920s, like I said, we're coming up on World War II era now, and it's getting really great. I can't even imagine where it's going, but so many threads this guy is balancing just perfectly. Yeah, I feel like this doesn't get enough credit for what it is, and I'm not even halfway done. I can't wait to see where it does go. But yeah, I'll be finishing up probably, I think, The House here probably this week, because each one of these volumes is only yeah, I don't know, 150, 180 pages, I think, for each one of these. But it's really easy to blow through. And I can't wait to see where it goes. Also did start Stones of Light. That's book 2 in Threadlight. But just a couple chapters in. I haven't really got that far into it yet because, like I said, after reading Shogun, I felt like I wanted to kind of take a break from anything kind of fantasy, medieval, kind of historical related, just kind of get into maybe a little bit of family drama. That's why I went to Blackwater. But this is all I got left for February is to finish this. Madison Goodyear is going to be reading it with me. For all I know, she's probably, gotten a lot farther than I have. I don't know. She's in the middle of a move right now. She might not. I'm not sure. I'll have to actually ask her. But we were going to read this together. But that's all I've got left for February on my original schedule. So I'll be dipping into that as soon as I finish Blackwater a little bit more. Like I said, only a couple of chapters in. Picks up right where book 1 left off, which left off on quite a, not really a cliffhanger, but, I'd like to see what happens next, and I feel like he's really got me back into that world immediately with the character that I want him to focus on, because there was a big change to Chris in book 1, and we are dipping right into that at the beginning here of book 2, and I can't wait to see where he does go with that as well. As for what am I going to read, I'll obviously finish those two things. If I start any of my March stuff early, like I said, I already started Blackwater Volume 3, which was slated for March. I guess it would be Priest of Lies, because I really love Priest of Bones. So that's a follow-up there, War for the Rose Throne, Peter McLean. I loved book 1, like a ton. So I'm really, really anxious to get back to that. But that and Blackwater have me kind of considering some major changes to my March TBR, which I'll talk about here in a minute. But just say that there's some things I realized. I always kind of joke about how I try not to do this thing where I start I make a schedule so I don't start 9 book 1s all at once. I looked at my schedule and realized you're doing that again. You're starting several new series, and when you do that, you never finish half of them. So I want to make sure that I kind of buckle down on that. So there might be a slight change in schedule, for March, but we'll talk about that. That might make the March TBR video a little boring. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see about that. How about this week on the channel, guys? We are into week number 3 here of the home renovations. It's great. You have these beautiful new cabinets in the kitchen. Everything looks gorgeous, except it's kind of like having a new car without tires on it, because we don't have countertops. And therefore, since the sink is being undermounted, we don't have a sink. And we don't have our stove connected yet. So it's all this stuff. It's like you've got all this beautiful stuff, but really all I can use is my fridge and my microwave right now. So we don't have any countertops. We don't have a sink. And gosh, you have no idea how much you use your countertops until they're gone. So we were finally able to move all our dishes back in, into the cabinets and things. So we got our actual dining room table back. So that's kind of running multiple duties here, kind of is pretty much a process for everything that we would use the countertops for. But yeah, it's interesting. Don't know when that's going to get fixed, because you get handcrafted countertops. It takes a good 2 weeks. So we shall see, but that does kind of dip into my availability a little bit. So that's why I kind of did a couple of just live streams this week in the evenings to make sure, that wouldn't be time when workers would be here and things like that. But I did get out of Why You Should Read. I hadn't done Why You Should Read in a while. So I said, hey, one that I feel like I should do that people have been asking me to do for a long time. And if you are one of the few people I haven't convinced to read it yet, I went ahead and talked about Sun Eater by Christopher Rocco, which I think obviously is something I've been talking about since early in 2020 for people to give a try. And that snowball effect has taken place. Some bigger booktubers than I have finally picked up on it, and it's getting a lot of new people interested. And I'm thankful for that, because no one deserves success more than Christopher. And I talk about in that video why I think that series is so special to people who have read it, because I feel like there is a little bit of something different. Like I said, you ask 5 Sun Eater fans what they love about it, and they'll tell you 5 different things that they love about it. I think that's what makes the series really, really unique. So I could get anybody to finally pick up Sun Eater. I'm excited that they would go ahead and do that. I know availability is a huge issue for some people. You're never going to find those hardcovers, guys. It's just, unless you want to seriously pay a lot of money, you're never going to find them. That's just a lost cause, But I encourage you, pick it up on digital, pick it up on trade. If you've got to suffer through mass market, just do it, because I think it's a story that most of you are going to appreciate. And it was fun to do a epic reading intro for that, like I like to do from time to time. And I thank Christopher for getting me all the high resolution art to be able to put a really nice introduction for that video together. It was really, really fun. So the discussions I had this week, back-to-back nights. I try not to do my live streams back-to-back like that, but that's just the way it happened when you got people in so many different time zones. We did our beginning of our One Piece discussions. That's going to be myself. It's going to be ℕ𝕦𝕣𝕚𝕚, obviously, who is like the first lady of BookTube. And obviously, if you know anything about One Piece, you know that Murphy has kind of become like the home base for One Piece fans on YouTube, is to go to her channel. Alan from Library of Alexandria, who actually hasn't read it. He has just watched the anime, which I think gives it a fun little twist there. And then Philip, who I did not believe that Philip would ever read One Piece. But it was a very interesting discussion, had a ton of fun. And usually with those long-form discussions, I encourage people, hey, if you've got to just minimize and just listen, okay, I understand that. Who wants to just watch us? That one I feel like you got to watch, because the theatrics that Alan pulled in that video had me falling out of my chair a few times. So I thought that was a really, really fun crew. Obviously, Romance Dawn is only 7 chapters, so we kind of turned it into a, how we discovered the series kind of episode. So it's kind of a fun icebreaker, and to kind of get into, what Philip has experienced, because I did pause on where I am reading in One Piece for Philip to catch up to me, because Philip and I read Realm of the Eldlings together, and being able to text each other back and forth, get those reactions, has been a lot of fun. So I want to make sure that I waited for Philip. I'm through Alabasta, and so once he catches up there, then I'll start reading Skypiea along with him at the same time. But we're going to be doing one of those conversations. We're going to be alternating between our 4 channels. So I had the first one. Next one's going to be on Alan's channel. Next one's going to be on Philip's channel. Then I believe Alan's, and then Murphy's, and then it'll come back to me. That's kind of the way we're going to do it the whole way around, because I think it's going to be just a great, great time, because we had a lot of fun with that first one. And we won't be spoiling anything past the arc that we are talking about, but those will be spoiler discussions. So if you haven't read, I encourage you to do so, because One Piece is a lot of fun. And if Philip can even see, he can kind of validate what I've been telling you guys. They're like, I don't think I could ever read One Piece. I think that Philip is obviously can put it in more eloquent ways about how I think that everyone can really get into One Piece. Author's Corner, the debut of this. Now, this is something I've been trying to put together for a while. I was like, how do I get a topic where I can just get 3 authors and myself together and just talk about whatever? And Shauna Lawless, she writes Gael Song, that's Children of Gods and Fighting Men, that series. She actually messaged me about a month ago, and she was like, hey, would you be interested in having a conversation about novellas? Because me and Ryan Cahill were talking and saying, like, how important novellas are for some of these ongoing series. And I said, that's a damn good idea. And so I thought Christopher would be a great person to add to this conversation, because he is obviously writing a lot of novellas as well. And what I love about those 3 authors is they all write so fast. They have a novella or a novel or both come out every single year. So for a lot of my audience, it's like, oh, I don't want to start any series until it's finished. That's 3 authors whose series aren't complete yet, but they write at such a quick rate, I never worry about when I'm going to get the next book, And so I feel like I could encourage that. So we had this conversation about novellas, but Christopher dropped a thermonuclear bomb when he went all in about how he hates hard magic systems. And so half of the conversation was about novellas and their importance, and I just kind of represented readers in that. And then we kind of went into, hard magic versus soft magic versus no magic in your series. And I'm like, huge shock, guys, that the science fiction guy doesn't want hard magic in any of his stories. I understand where he was coming from. So it was a fun conversation. Those are 3 wonderful writers and even better humans. And I want to thank Shauna for actually coming up with the idea to get that together. So Author's Corner is something I want to do more frequently. I just want to kind of make sure we have a topic instead of just turning it into another talk about nothing. I kind of want to make sure that we have a topic. And then we can also talk about nothing during it. But you guys want particular authors to come on with me, please let me know, let them know. Like I always tell people, I can't make anyone come on the channel, but I feel like just about anyone's up for a discussion these days, as long as we do have some kind of topic. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. You guys let me know how you felt about that, because I feel like I could just talk to those 3 for hours. I mean, it was one of those things like Christopher and I both had to go take care of our kids. Shauna was up way past her bedtime because she's 6 hours ahead of me. And Ryan needed to go write. So it was one of those things like we could have probably talked a lot longer, but I felt like there was a really good discussion there. And I look forward to continuing that series. I think that could be something really, really great. And it was fun for me to introduce Christopher to Ryan, because I felt like those 2 have a similar trajectory with their series and their formats. So I felt like it was a really great time to get those 2 introduced to each other. Next week plans, guys, I got a couple of things on the docket here. Obviously, I talked about my March 2024 TBR. That might be a boring video, because I might tell you guys, look, I'm going to finish Shogun, and I'm going to finish Blackwater, and I'm just going to read War for the Rose Throne. I don't know. I might just say that. Who knows? Who knows? But we'll see kind of where. I haven't decided yet. I'm really still I'm just kind of throwing darts and deciding what I want to do for March. So it could be a very boring video. Could have a couple of new things on there, but I am considering wrapping up some things instead of doing this one book per month and doing multiple series at the same time. Because I feel like this when you start getting like, okay, I'm forgetting things, or I'm spending so much time in one world and then hop into the next one, and I'm getting things kind of blurred. So we'll see. We'll see. That could go any way. I'm not really sure. Another new series that I am wanting to kind of create here on the channel, something I've been thinking about doing for a while. I've actually been thinking about doing this since Dune Part 1 came out. Was a series I was going to create on the channel called Lost in Adaptation. Now that's where I look at adaptations of books into TV shows and or movies. And I didn't know really what the interest in something like that would be, so I've kind of held back, but I've already got people asking, you need to do one. Now that Dune Part 1 and 2 are about to be out, now you need to do one for Dune. And I feel like, yeah, that's something I could do, but I don't want to start with that. I've already got a couple on the docket that I want to do, and I want to begin, guys, with Percy Jackson, the new adaptation that did happen on Disney+. Lots of things I liked about it. Lots of things I didn't like about it. And I think that's what Lost in Adaptation is going to be. It's never going to be oh, this is why it sucks, or this is why it's great. I'm going to do like I did when I talked about, fancy adaptations. Why can't they get them right? I'm going to talk about what I liked, what I didn't like, what maybe I would have done differently. It's just a fun discussion to have. And it's one of those things where I tell people, look, if you enjoyed this, enjoy it, please. It's just for the sake of a conversation. These are some things that worked for me. These are some things that didn't. I understand Percy Jackson wasn't made for me. But I want to say I did have my 11-year-old who is a target demographic for something like this. I want him to give his feedback and tell me what he thought. And I will make sure that I share that with you guys. He's still too nervous to get on the camera, by the way. He sees his picture in the viewfinder and he just makes faces the whole time. And he's not ready to talk on camera. So you have to use me as an intermediary. But I do feel like I've got lots of data points to discuss with something like that. And even though it's not a book, I'm thinking about doing it for Avatar: The Last Airbender because I'm absolutely loving that. And more about that here in a moment. Guys, TV and movie talk here before I go. Just talked about Avatar. Obviously, the live action adaptation did come out on Netflix, had a lot of hoopla surrounding it. And I've just recently learned just how massive the Avatar The Last Airbender fan base truly, truly is, as I've been watching the original in the lead up to this. But first, I want to talk about the Netflix adaptation. I think that it seems like it's about 2/3 positive. And I've only watched 2 episodes. I'm going to say, guys, I think it's fine. I'm enjoying it for the most part. I have been into the fandom for 5 minutes, so I'm not ready to be the guy that criticizes the way someone's eyebrows look or what color his sash is. But I will say some things like, yeah, they got Commander Zhao all wrong. He's all wrong. He's not intimidating at all. He seems kind of aloof. And the funny thing is the actor that they cast to play Commander Zhao in that is like say that he thought he was going to audition for James Cameron's Avatar. And I'm like, well, that's apparent because he seems like he's lost. But it's not a 1-to-1 adaptation, but it's pretty damn close. I mean, there are some things they embellish on. There's some things like the prologue's way, way, way longer on the show. There's some things you can see that they tried to maybe take some of the kiddie stuff out. But I feel like unlike Percy Jackson, I do still feel like some of the fun things are in there. But again, I've only watched 2 episodes. But I like it. I think that what they did with Kyoshi is amazing. I thought it was really, really good. Some things they made. And Sokka, oh my God. If you're telling me that they used an AI to generate him, I would believe you. That kid is straight from the cartoon. So I'm enjoying it. Like I said, we're only, a quarter into it, kind of watching it slowly. And I'm also watching the animated series at the same time. So, again, I'm really, really new to this to be like, I haven't had the time to sit there and just completely just nitpick the hell out of it. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that do that. Guys, I'm going to do that with Dune. I've been a fan of Dune for 30 years. Of course I'm going to nitpick the hell out of Dune. And I understand that's what a lot of people that grew up with this cartoon are doing with this show. And I understand. And I'm never going to drag them for that. For me, like I said, as someone that's new to it, I don't feel... It's not quite like on the level of One Piece, which I thought was like ridiculously faithful. Really. But of course you had the original writer of that, whereas the writers of the original Avatar left this production. And that was my first red flag. But I think I went this with kind of lowered expectations based off of all some of the stories that they were saying. And I'm enjoying it so far. The actual bending looks amazing. It makes me wish that Wheel of Time's magic had looked this good. And it goes to show me, what did you guys do with all that money on Wheel of Time? Because I don't see that budget on the screen. But I don't want to just do that anymore. Compared to Wheel of Time, this is an amazing, adaptation. So I never watched the M. Night movie that I know that ruined a lot of people's childhood. I understand that. And I don't think that should be the bar. That's what people said about Percy Jackson. It's like, well, it's better than that movie adaptation. That shouldn't be the bar. The original should be the bar. That's what you're going for, to kind of capture that magic. But with this, for me, like I said, a quarter in, I'm enjoying it, and I'm going to continue with it. And it seems like it's mostly positive that I've seen. Just Twitter's going to Twitter sometimes. They're not going to be happy, and there's going to be lots of clickbait out there. And I'm not saying those people don't have a valid opinion. If you are not liking it, you are absolutely allowed not to like it. I just feel like I said, I feel like it's mostly positive. And that's coming from a lot of people I've talked to that have been pushing me to watch the original for years. And watching the original, guys, I am currently, this morning, I finished Season 2, Episode 9. And guys, I truly think that I am finally going to have an animated show that's going to supplant Batman, the animated series, as my favorite animated show of all time. And I don't want anybody thinking that that's a detraction against Batman, the animated series. Guys, that's been my #1 animated series for like 30 years, okay? So obviously, this is high praise. For me, what I think makes Avatar: The Last Airbender so special is the character arcs. I mean, look, I love Batman the Animated Series, but Batman pretty much stays Batman the whole show. You think about where these characters are in Avatar on the very Book 1, Episode 1, and where they're at halfway through Book 2, it's like they're different characters, and it's been so earned and so organic, and I just love it. I mean, the show has actually brought me to tears. It's amazing. It's amazing that this is marketed as a kid's show. I don't understand that, because that's just really, really poor. This writing is some of the best that I have seen. And I'm not just talking about animated shows. I'm talking about on shows, period. It really is incredible what they have done in just a season and a half of the show. I feel like I do the first time I read A Game of Thrones, Book 1, A Song of Ice and Fire, where I'm like, oh man, I love Tyrion. I hope the Lannisters win this battle. Oh man, I sure love the young wolf Robb. I hope the Starks win this battle. What's that? They're fighting each other? Oh no. That's how I feel about this show. I love Aang. I love Zuko. I love Iroh. I love Sokka. I'm just like, I love all these characters to the point where like, oh crap, but they're not on the same side, and that just means your character work is just next level. And it is. It's some of the best I have ever seen. And people tell me it gets better and better from here. I'm not sure I can process that. I'm not sure if I can, because I think this has just been S-tier writing so far. Sure, it has those things every once in a while you'll be like, well, that was kind of goofy. Again, guys, it's on Nickelodeon, and that stuff's there. But I'm laughing. I'm laughing when those moments happen. It makes you feel good right here. So it has those lighthearted moments to still make you have a good... Remember, you're having a good time. But Jesus, the emotional weight that show can pack sometimes is because their characters are written so well. And when they give me the backstory fully with what happened between Iroh and his son, I know the dad shit is just going to overwhelm me, and I'm going to be inconsolable. I just know. They've written it so well that I'm dreading when that moment happens. But yes, guys, thank you so much for pushing me to watch this, because, yeah, this is going to be an all-timer for me. No doubt. And again, Batman the Animated Series, I thought nothing would ever come close to it. And unless this just shits the bed at the end, I don't see how it doesn't supplant Batman. That's amazing. That really, really is. So guys, I implore you, it's on Netflix in the US. Pick it up and watch the original. If you're curious about the new live action show, watch the animated show first, I think. I'm a season and a half into it. And I've had somebody be like, why are you watching the new one when you haven't even finished the original? Well, I mean, I've watched the part that they're covering. But also, guys, when my 11-year-old wants to spend time with me, I'm going to take advantage of that, and I'm going to watch the new adaptation of Avatar with him. So that's why I'm doing it that way. The animated show is something that's going to take priority for me, and I will be finishing that. I'd be stunned if within a couple weeks I'm not done with it, because I do have a long Twitter thread where I'm kind of reacting to every single episode if you want to know more. But I love it, guys. It's amazing. And then I'm seeing Dune Part 2 tomorrow. Oh my God, right? Man, listen to the soundtrack that came out. Hans Zimmer, undefeated. He really is. What he's done with the Dune soundtrack, just making it feel otherworldly. And I knew Hans would do a great job. But yeah, listen to that new soundtrack. Listen to it with headphones in, and you will just be completely transported away to Arrakis. It really is that good. As for the movie, look, I'll be honest, Jeremy John's review of it's got me shook a little bit, because I've said that Jeremy Johns and I kind of share a brain, it seems like. Every time I think that we're going to differ on an opinion, then I'll see it and I'm like, no, Jeremy was right. I feel exactly the same way. But what he said was, he thinks it's an amazing movie, and I know it will be. That's all Denis V makes is amazing movies. I'm not worried about that. But he did say when he left, a lot of book readers were like, what were they thinking with this one part? And that's got me shook. And I'm pretty sure I know what it is. And I kind of talked about it last week. That's something that would greatly disappoint me. I think it's going to be an amazing movie. And I think that if you aren't connected to the book, you're probably going to think it's maybe the best sci-fi movie you've ever seen. Who knows? That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing it as a straight-up masterpiece. The ticket pre-sales for it have doubled what Dune Part 1 has. So we're going to get Dune Messiah, without a doubt. But yeah, the change that I've heard is made in this has me very distrustful. I don't know, but again, I think it's going to be an amazing movie. I don't know. If I said I wasn't nervous, I'd be lying to you, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be incredible. But, you know, Christopher Rocchio and I, we will be doing a spoiler-free and a spoiler discussion video, just like we did with Part 1. And to be honest with you guys, we're going to nitpick the hell out of it because we're both lifelong fans. So if you want to see us flip tables live, I don't know if that would be something for you to watch, but I think that it's going to be amazing. I want people to understand that. It's just when something is pretty much like your sacred text or your Bible, any change is made, I'm going to be like, yeah, I want to know why you thought you could do it better than Frank. You know, just like I've said with a lot of Stephen King, you're not a better writer than Stephen King. Why are you doing this? You know, so I feel like I trust ℕ𝕦𝕣 in that regard. But if it's something that I think it's going to be, I'm going to be like, why would you do that? Why would you make that change? You know, I mean, I don't think even Brian Herbert would have done that, and that guy makes no good decisions. But I'm going a little long here, so guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. So lots going on this week. Avatar's amazing. Thank you guys so much. And Dune Part 2 tomorrow. It's going to rock. I'll probably do a quick short with like my instant reaction just because I am seeing it 5 days earlier than Christopher. And so I want to make sure that I get those emotions out there. So I'll probably look out for that probably Monday or so. I'll probably just get my quick little non-spoiler reaction to it. But can't wait. But I'm curious, guys, what are you up to this week? Why don't you drop in the comments, guys? Let me know what you're watching, what you're reading, what you're listening to, what you are playing. And have yourselves an awesome weekend.